Stoveleg Media, igniting conversation.
Welcome to True Crime to Go. What can I get for you?
Bless you, my sister. I'm sorry, I'm just really intrigued by the new pope. Did you know that the new pope was shot at one time? And
Pull up to the second window and we'll see you next crime.
Welcome to True Crime to Go. I am John here with Jamie. Not only did I lie during the cold intro, but a lot of mistakes were made. The new pope has not been shot at as far as I know. There was a pope that was. We're going to talk about that today. How are you, man?
A lot of pope talk lately. Got our first American pope from Chicago. My favorite thing I've seen is when you sent me, somebody made a video of him coming out to like the 96 Bulls intro music. So pretty excited about that. We are not Catholic, but it's still intriguing. And I guess because of all the publicity about the new pope, you and I stumbled upon this little story here that we're going to tell in 10 minutes or less. Why don't you get us rolling?
I do want to ask, have you heard about this before we stumbled upon it?
I've not. And this is, like you said, a pope, an attempted assassination of a pope. And I have a lot of questions about why you would do this.
Yeah. Well,
aside from notoriety, like you assassinate a president and there's a change of power and those kinds of things. And I'm not saying the pope's not powerful, but it's a different thing.
For sure, and we're going to get into that, absolutely. We're going to go back to May 13th, 1981, and that is a day that changed the course of history. On that day, Pope John Paul II was making his way through St. Peter's Square in the Vatican City. He was greeting thousands of people who were faithful Catholics and who had gathered there really to just see him. At 5:17 p.m., as the Pope passed through the crowd, there was a Turkish national named Mehmet Ali Ağca. This guy fired 4 shots from a 9mm Browning high-powered semi-automatic pistol directly at the Pope.
2 bullets struck the Pope, one in the abdomen, narrowly missing vital organs, and another in his left hand. There were also 2 bystanders, Ann Oder from Buffalo, New York, and Rose Hall from Massachusetts, who were injured. In the chaos, Ağca attempted to flee and get away. He disposed of his weapon under a truck. However, he was quickly apprehended by Vatican security chief Camillo Sabin, a nun, and several bystanders. How'd you like to be a guy on the run and get caught by a nun?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's awesome that she was involved and apprehended this guy, or at least helped in it. This guy was no stranger to violence. Prior to the assassination attempt, he had been convicted in 1979 for the murder of a Turkish journalist. Ağca was associated with the Grey Wolves. This was a Turkish unilateralist organization, and he had previously described the Pope as, quote, the masked leader of the Crusades, end quote. He had threatened to kill the Pope if the Pope proceeded with a planned visit to Turkey in 1979.
The Crusades are certainly an interesting study historically, but it is historically. It wasn't like it happened in the 60s and he was trying to get revenge in the 70s. Despite his threats, the Pope went ahead and went to Turkey, and Ağca, he said he wasn't going to stand for it. Now, in August of 1980, he started traveling across the Mediterranean using several aliases, altering passports, and getting new identities. He entered Rome on May 10th of 1981, just days before he carried out this attack.
According to his testimony later on, he said that he met with 3 accomplices in Rome. There was a fellow Turkish man, there were also 2 Bulgarian people, and he claimed the operation was commanded by a member of the Bulgarian military in Italy.
He said that he was assigned to this mission by Turkish mafioso Bekir Selenk in Bulgaria. The plan was for him and a backup gunman to open fire on the Pope and escape to the Bulgarian embassy amidst the ensuing chaos. However, Selenk panicked and did not open fire. He just fled, leaving Ağca to carry out the attack all by himself and to look like a lone shooter.
I'm interested in the why behind this. I mean, we mentioned the masked crusader, right? But I think the real motivation behind this attack seems murky at best. Over the years, there have been some different theories. There's one prominent theory is the Bulgarian connection, suggesting that the Bulgarian Secret Service, possibly at the behest of the Soviet Union, the KGB, orchestrated the attack due to the Pope's support for the Solidarity movement going on in Poland. I mean, even to this day, there's still tension, between Poland and Russia. So Is that a possibility? Maybe.
In 1986, Bulgarian national Sergei Antonov was tried in Italy based on the testimony of Ağca, but was acquitted due to a lack of evidence. Later, Ağca claimed that the Iranian government, under Aluata Khamenei, ordered the assassination attempt, stating he received training in Iran. However, these claims were widely dismissed and unable to be confirmed.
A commission in Italy concluded that the Soviet Union was behind the assassination attempt, citing the Pope's support for anti-communist movements as the motive. John Paul II underwent emergency surgery. He spent several weeks recovering. Remarkably, and this is just super fascinating to me, he publicly forgave this man for the attempt on his life. And also, in a profound act of compassion, the Pope visited this gentleman, I say gentleman loosely, in prison in 1983, speaking with him privately and offering his forgiveness. At the Pope's request, Ağca was pardoned by the Italian president in the year 2000, and he was deported to Turkey, where he served a sentence for the murder of the journalist, but was, pardoned for his attempted murder on the Pope.
In 2014, Ağca allegedly visited the Pope's tomb in Vatican City and laid white flowers in a gesture of respect. This attempted assassination of the Pope is one of the most enigmatic events of the 20th century, as we don't really have a clear motive. We think we know that the Soviet Union was behind it, but as far as I know, it's the only modern attempt at killing a Pope. And before we started, I said I wonder about those motivations, because there are certainly political powers at stake when a political leader is killed. But I guess there's a lot at stake here as well. The Pope is very influential in a lot of different ways, so trying to get him out of the way, I'm surprised it hasn't happened more often.
Is this the reason we have the Pope Mobile? I mean, is the Pope still walking around kind of in the open around the Vatican?
That's a good question. I'm not sure. Vatican City is its own country, which is super odd, and they have, depending on who you talk to, there can be a lot of secrets happening there. And I've seen videos of the Pope greeting people, but I don't know what type of security happened around the area. So I would assume that he is very highly guarded.
Well, interestingly, Jamie, and maybe we should do another True Crime to Go episode on this fact, but it has its own army. It is per capita, because the Vatican City is an actual country, but because of its small, per capita, it's the largest military in the world.
Yeah.
Because 20% of the population is the military.
Yeah.
So it's interesting, but I learned a lot about that. So let's talk about that some more.
Absolutely. A lot of good Pope conversations going on. Certainly a very interested thing happening in, just around the world, and a lot of buzz around the new Pope, first American Pope. And I'm sure there are some who have their different opinions about that. I don't have one, just interested in learning more about it. And hopefully you learned something here today, as we talked about the attempted assassination of a Pope in 10 minutes or less.
Would you like crime with that?
You've listened to True Crimecast, distributed by Stoveleg Media. Check out stoveleg.com to find out more about your hosts and to find other podcasts to listen to. Stoveleg Media, igniting conversation.